These glasses don't augment reality like AR or give you a whole different world or environment like VR, but honestly for a lot of people out there, they don't really need AR or VR. They're just looking for a giant immersive display right in front of their eyes to connect to a laptop, gaming console, phone, or tablet. So this is the RayNeo Air 2S and they promise exactly that. Without needing battery or a separate power source, this thing just connects to any of your devices that supports display out through USB-C or an adapter. No new OS or UI that you need to learn to use. There is an app for Android, but you don't really have to use it. It's just super simple plug and play, and that's why I like to call this a wearable display or display glasses. For a lot of people, this is all they wanted from a wearable headset. So if you're one of those people, the Air 2S will make a lot of sense to you. But before you go ahead and buy one, definitely watch the rest of this video to hear all the good and the bad to see if this is the right purchase for you. By the way, RayNeo and TCL did provide me this unit for this video, but this is not a sponsored video, so all the thoughts here are mine and mine only. First things first, I do like how normal these things look and feel. I feel like a lot of other wearables out there are doing too much or too heavy. Just like a lot of regular glasses, the Air 2S is super flexible and plasticky, really light, and it's very close to looking like a regular pair of sunglasses. Still looks stupid and funny when wearing them, but this is the closest to normal I've seen myself with a wearable headset. Wearing them also feels almost just as comfortable as a regular pair of glasses. At just 78 grams, the weight is so minimal that there's no stress on any part of your head or nose. The only part that I think does get a bit sensitive is the right ear. Since a USB-C cable connects to the right side and the cable is connected to another device, there is a bit of tug on the right ear just because of gravity. But it's nothing that severe, so you can wear this for hours at a time without worrying. This is also adjustable in several different ways, and you will need to adjust them or else the viewing angle might be really off. If you do wear glasses or contacts, RayNeo does provide a prescription lens frame in the box which you can go take to an optometrist. Because of the compact size, the simple connection, and the normal-ish look, it's really easy to carry this around and use it in public areas. Now, I wouldn't use this in a cafe or the office because I would look a little ridiculous, but for a more sort of private setting like a flight, a long train ride, or at hotels, I could definitely see myself bringing these around. Or even when you're home, if your monitor or TV is occupied by a roommate or a family member, this is also an option. In terms of the actual display, the Air 2S has some crazy specs and promises. Two 1080p displays for 2D mode, 3840 by 1080 resolution when in 3D mode, 5000 nits of display brightness with up to 600 nits of perceived brightness, 120Hz refresh rate, and 108% sRGB. RayNeo is advertising that you'll perceive a 201-inch Sony micro OLED screen that's just 6 meters away from you and that there's better edge clarity here compared to competitors. From my experience, I'm really satisfied with the resolution. 4K movies look awesome on these. I would love to take these on a long flight. The brightness is pretty crazy. It's a 10 level brightness meter, so you can use it at your optimal level. I don't even use these at full brightness, so they're a little too bright. 120Hz looks super smooth for gaming, and it's really nice as a monitor for my M1 MacBook Air since that only has a 60Hz native display. Also didn't have to do any color adjustments since it pretty much looked one-to-one with anything I connected it to. With all that said, the advertised 201-inch display size is simply not true. It looks more like a 42-inch TV, maybe 50-inch, that's 4 to 5 meters away from you. That's still really good compared to a 13-inch laptop, a tablet, or an in-flight entertainment screen, so while I'm satisfied, it doesn't come close to 200 inches or a theater-like screen size. Also, while the display quality is awesome and really immersive since it's basically an opaque display with a semi-transparent black backdrop, the edge clarity isn't the best and I feel like a tiny bit of each corner is cut off from my field of view. I feel like the central 75% of the display looks super clear. The corners and the edges though look a bit fuzzy almost all the time unless you adjust the angle a bit to focus on those areas instead. By the way, this is my personal experience. You might have a different or better experience depending on your vision or how you adjust your headset. That weakness alone makes this hard to totally replace your desktop monitor, so for me, this display is more of a secondary entertainment display at home, but I think it can be a primary option when traveling, especially because unlike VR, this doesn't give me any motion sickness. What helps with that is the surprisingly really great speakers. I was just planning on using my earbuds since I expected the speakers to be trash, but yeah, these are really good. It's a 4-speaker design with 2 openings on each arm. The max volume is just loud enough to be loud for entertainment, maybe not really for listening to music, little to no distortion at all, and the bass is really impressive as basically just on-ear speakers. The surround sound also actually works and makes watching movies or playing games very immersive. I can hear a car going from one corner to the other and distinguish all the noises. With all those things in mind, let's go over what the RayNeo Air 2S is good for. This is great for watching videos like YouTube, movies, or TV shows where your point of focus is almost always at the center of the screen and the edge details aren't as important. With a lot of video content already having blurred out details aside from the single focus of the shot, the display here looks natural and fitting for the content. It just feels like I have a giant portable TV screen to watch all my content. Gaming is also a good use case for the Air 2S, but it's not quite as good as watching video content. For games, the edge and corner details do matter, whether it's a scoreboard for a competitive shooter or an open world environment where you want to look around a lot. Some things will look a little out of view or fuzzy. It's still an amazing experience, especially when connected to my Steam Deck for a much bigger display, plus the 120Hz refresh rate. I would definitely use these for a flight or long distance train ride, or if I want to game at night without disturbing my wife. But yeah, it wouldn't be my primary option for gaming. Similar case for work and productivity. For the most part, using a desktop or laptop with the Air 2S is a decent experience thanks to the super simple setup plus a nice display and audio quality. But since macOS and Windows both have a lot of UI elements that are placed in the corners or the edges, a lot of buttons and things will be blurry or slightly out of sight. So it feels like it's 80% of the way there, but the remaining 20% just feels frustrating, which makes me want to take it off and just use a laptop screen instead. So with all that said, should you buy the RayNeo Air 2S? It's originally priced at $399, but it is $319 right now on Amazon. If you're always on the move, on flights and long trips, I think these are worth the money as a really useful entertainment display, especially considering how easy it is to connect to your stuff and how easy it is to pack this in your carry-on or bag. For those of you wanting this for a backup display at home, especially when your TV or monitor is occupied, I do think this would be a nice to have, but it is a bit of a luxury at $300 or more. For a secondary use case like that, I would be looking for something along the $200 mark. Overall, for most people, this will most likely serve as a secondary external display where a $300 purchase like this might not make too much sense. But I will say that I'm really glad I do have one because I have a couple flights coming up over the next few months. So if you feel that need to, it's not a bad buy. Okay, that's it for the full review. If you're interested in these, you can check out the Amazon affiliate link down below. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on display glasses like these. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.